Now, after preparation of the balance sheet, we come for the last phase of preparation of financial statements, which is cash flow statement preparation. Now, as you all must be aware, cash flow statement has been segmented into three segments, that is cash from operating activities, cash from investing activities and cash from financing activities. So based on these segments only, we will try to calculate the cash balance of the organization. Now when we calculate the cash from operating activities, the base for it becomes the profit after tax, wherein the changes for non-operating expenses and income are done to find out cash from operating activities. So we start with profit after tax by simply linking it with the income statement values of profit after tax. Now once we get the profit after tax, next comes depreciation. Depreciation value also we will calculate from the base calculation, that is income statement calculation only. Though it is 0 for year 0, we will still link it with that value. Now next comes change in working capital. Now in this case there are three components of working capital, that is inventory, accounts receivables and accounts payable. Now whenever you are trying to find out the change in current asset, you should calculate it as previous year's inventory minus previous year's current asset minus current year's current asset to find out the positive answer. So we do it accordingly, and though here we are calculating the things for year 0, the previous year for it will become minus 1 year. So the formula will become previous years, that is minus 1 year inventory minus current year's inventory. So we go to the balance sheet to get these values. Inventory previous year minus 1 minus year 0 inventory. So it gives us change, that is increase. There is increase in inventory value by 12 crores. Inventory and account receivables are in the same sequence, so we can simply drag them, and when it comes to calculation of change in current liability, the formula gets reversed as current year's value minus previous year's value. So it will become as year 0 value of accounts payable minus the previous year value of accounts payable. So change in account payables is 8 crores positive, and now we can simply drag all these 5 values together. Instead, we can even calculate cash from operating activities as simply equal to sum of all these 5 values, because we have already given the effect of positive and negative while calculating it, and now we can drag them for all 6 years to find out the values. This gives us our cash from operating activities for all 6 years. Next is cash from investing activities. In case of cash of investing activities, all the change into purchase and sales of assets or capex are recorded, but only for the current year and not the accumulated figures. So whenever you are recording the cash from investing activities through purchase or sale or capex, the basic formula that you have to use is current year's gross asset minus previous year's gross asset, because we want to see the purchase, sale or capex changes into it. So these values also we will derive from the balance sheet as current year's gross asset minus previous year's gross assets minus previous year's gross asset. But if we say 25 is my cash from investing activities, this is actually an outflow. So what we do to make it negative, in the formula bar we give a negative sign to the equation created, not to the first value only, remember, to the equation created to make it negative, and that becomes, in this case there is only one component for cash from investing activities. So that becomes my cash from operations, though it is negative. And now you can drag it for rest of the years to calculate cash flow from investing activities for rest of the years. And very rightly in year 3 we can see there is cash outflow for capex in year 3 of 14 crores. Next component or segment into cash flow statement is cash from financing activities, which records the change in equity values or debt values in the current period. And it is simply calculated as current year's value minus previous year's value. So we calculate the value of debt first as current year's debt. Now when we say debt, it is the closing value of debt that we record into the balance sheet. Current year's debt minus previous year's debt. Though it is 0, it will give the appropriate answer, and in the rest of the years when you drag it, you will see negative values being recorded, because in rest of the years there is an outflow of debt or cash as debt payment. Only in year 3 there is inflow of a new loan taken. If we talk about change in equity, there is no equity in this case, so we will not record any values here, and our change from financing activities will be simply change in debt plus change in equity. And if we drag it or copy paste it for rest of the years, it gives us values for all 6 years. Now net change in cash, after calculating all the changes in cash from operating activities, investing activities and financing activities, we can calculate the net change in cash as cash from financing activities plus cash from investing activities and plus cash from operating activities. Though it is negative, not a worry, keep the values as it is. Now if we want to calculate the values for beginning of period cash and end of period cash, we see here we have made these two rows. Now beginning of period cash for year -1 is not given to us, neither end of period values are given for year 1 and 0, -1 and 0, but we will put the formulas whatever we are getting. Now beginning of period cash for any year is equal to previous year's end of period cash, and end of period cash for any year is equal to beginning of period cash plus net change in cash. So we have received the end of period cash for year 1 and beginning of period cash for year 1. If we drag it for rest 6 years, we get the values for all 6 years. You can simply format by making the decimals as 0 and calculating the values into black to show that these are the calculations done. And now this end of period cash we can simply add into the balance sheet, which we have kept as blank. If you see here, we have kept the end of period values as blank. So what we will do, we will simply link the cash column or cash row rather with the end of period cash and drag it for rest of the period. This one. And now if you see the magic, checksum is 0, means all the values that we have calculated are correct, which is balancing our balance sheet. And if you remember, there is something into income statement as well which is remaining. In income statement we have kept the interest income row as blank, because interest income is to be calculated at the beginning of period balance of cash at 6% rate of interest. And now as we have beginning of period balance, we will simply go to beginning of period balance into the cash flow, multiply it with the interest rate. Now interest rate we want to keep constant. So we enter it. Now for year 0 it is 0 because there is no beginning of period balance. Now those who are doing it for the first time, you may get circular reference warning because there is interconnection between the values that we are calculating. Now our cash flow depends on profit after tax, which depends on interest income. So you will get the circular reference warning. In that case, what you have to do, you have to simply go to File, Excel Options. Into Excel Options, you have to go for, just a second, Formulas. I'll have to do it again because the window has gone. So go to Excel Options, go to Formulas into this tab, and here you will find Enable Iterative Calculations. You simply have to click this tick box and press OK. This will allow you circular referencing, and now you can drag the interest income to get the interest income for rest of the years. Now if you see, in few years you are getting it negative, means there is no income but there is expenditure. Can it happen? No. So in the cases we have negative income, we have to use the if function as if logical test. Now the beginning cash balance is given into D112. So I put it as D112. If it is greater than 0, then only apply this formula, otherwise keep it 0. And I enter it, so it makes my interest income as 0 for the year 1. And now I drag the rest of the formula, and you can see here I am getting the appropriate values. Okay, make sure that you have freezed the value of, or you can say the rate of interest. And now the same values will reflect into profit after tax and into our balance sheet, cash flow statement, everywhere, and still our checksum is 0. Means we are done with preparation of financial statements. Now the last part in the financial modeling is valuation. Now for the purpose of valuation, we will be using two methods, DCF valuation method and relative valuation method. Now for DCF valuation, you have to calculate NOPAT, that is net operating profit after tax, which is equal to EBIT into 1 minus T plus depreciation minus capex plus change in working capital, which gives you free cash flow of the firm. So we calculate the NOPAT from year 0 as EBIT into 1 minus T. So we go to income statement and find out the EBIT of the organization into bracket 1 minus T. Now even the T rate is available into the income statements here. We freeze the tax rate because it is going to remain same for the rest of the years. We click it and we get the value of NOPAT. Now depreciation is equal to simply the value given into income statement. Now you can take it from the cash flow statement or from the income statement. Cash flow is near, so we take it from there. Capex, now we have to reduce the capex, but if we go into the cash flow statement, the capex is already given into negative, so we simply link it. And change in working capital, now we have already calculated the change in inventory, change in receivables and change in accounts payable into the cash flow statement. So what we do, we simply take the sum of these values as equal to sum and sum of these three values. Bracket complete. It gives you the change in working capital and my free cash flow from firm is equal to sum of all these values. Now I am simply taking the sum of these values because I have already given the effect of positive or negative while calculating the values itself. Yes. So it has given me the values, and now if I simply drag it for rest of the years, it gives me free cash flow for the firm for all 6 years, and over a period you can see free cash flow of the firm in the last year has gone to positive 37. Now next step is calculation of terminal value. Terminal value basically is equal to the remaining, the cash flow value for the remaining periods of the organization or remaining life of the organization, wherein the organization has achieved the maturity stage and is going to grow at a constant rate instead of having fluctuations. It is called as, now terminal value calculation in DCF is done into two-fold DCF model, and it is calculated as this way: last year's free cash flow to firm, which we already have, plus 1 into 1 plus G, that is growth rate, divided by WACC minus G. WACC is the weighted average cost of capital and G is the growth rate. Now these values, few of the values we have to calculate, and few of the values are already given to us. For example, growth rate is already given to us as 4%. Beta is given to us as 0.50, and WACC is not given to us, so we need to calculate WACC. Now WACC calculation requires calculation of cost of equity and cost of debt, and based on that we will be calculating the WACC. Now whenever you are calculating cost of equity, if the things are available, the data is available, you should go for the CAPM model of CAPM model of calculation of cost of equity. That is, it is the most used method by the equity researchers, for which you need risk-free rate of interest, which is given to us as 5.6% and market risk premium as 7%. So 5.6% is our risk-free return and market premium is 7%. Means market rate is equal to risk-free rate plus 7%, which is equal to 13%. So from that we can calculate cost of equity as per the CAPM model. Here you can see here risk-free rate 5.6% plus beta into the bracket market risk premium, which is equal to market returns minus risk-free returns. So the cost of equity is 9.1%. Next is cost of debt. Cost of debt can be very easily calculated as interest into 1 minus T. Interest rate, we know it is 10%, but rather we will link it with the income statement values given to us. Interest expenditure value 10% and the tax value also from the income statement, wherein we have calculated tax as 25%, and now we can calculate the cost of debt as equal to interest into 1 minus tax rate, which gives us cost of debt. Now weight of equity and debt we have already calculated as, weight of equity is 33% and weight of debt is 66.67%. Now I forgot to link it, so I go back and link it. Is equal to 33% and weight of debt is equal to 66%. Now you will say we do not have equity, but the retained earnings are there, and the cost of retained earnings is always equal to cost of equity. So we consider them to be the same and calculate WACC. WACC is simply equal to cost of equity into weight of equity plus cost of debt into weight of debt, and this gives us as WACC as 8.03%. Now using these values, we can calculate the terminal value as equal to last year's FCFF into 1 plus growth rate, bracket complete, divided by WACC minus growth rate. Just a second. Yes, I have forgot the multiplication formula here. So now it will give me the values as 962 terminal value. Means for the rest of the life of the organization, it will be generating 962 crores. Okay, and this will give me now the total cash flows as FCFF plus the terminal value. I calculated for all the years and we get the total cash flows, and we come to the last part of DCF calculation as enterprise value, calculation of equity value, which is simply equal to enterprise value minus debt of the last year plus cash of the last year. Now enterprise value is equal to net present value of all the cash flows, but always consider cash flows from year 1 only and use the NPV formula. Those who have followed my Excel videos, they know how to calculate it. Simply take the values from year 1 to year last and calculate the NPV. We have forgot to mention the rate here. The rate is always WACC rate that you have to consider, and then rest all the values you have to select from year 1 only, not from year 0, and it gives you the enterprise value. You have to deduct debt from it, so we will link the debt value from the balance sheet, not from the cash flow, remember it, and it will only be the last year's value, and then will be cash value. The cash value will be again from the balance sheet and not from the cash flow as the last year's value, which will give me equity value of the organization, for which we do the calculation as equal to enterprise value minus debt plus cash. So we can say the equity value of the current organization is 719 crores. Now this value will be useful in the case of mergers acquisition valuation, or as an investor. Say if the organization is issuing shares, the per share value can be calculated as this entire equity value divided by number of shares, which will help us make decision related to this organization. Next valuation method is relative valuation. Now in this case, we are going to calculate or do the relative valuation based on PE multiples which are given to us as 7 multiple in year 0 and 21 multiple into year 6. When you want to calculate the value based on PE multiple, it comes to be actually earnings available for equity shareholders multiplied by the PE. In this case, as there are no dividends, the profit after tax becomes earnings available for equity shares, and 84 is nothing but PE multiple into profit after tax for year 0. Same way for the last year, it is 523 based on 21 multiple. So we can say based on PE multiple, the value of the organization is 523. And CAGR valuation. Now CAGR calculation if we want to do. CAGR means compounded annual growth rate of the organization. We simply want to find out uniformly if we want to calculate at what rate the organization is growing. And the formula for that is end value divided by start value rest to 1 by number of years, the bracket minus by 1. Based on PE calculations, we calculate the CAGR as end value divided by start value power of 1 by 6. The total period in between 0 to 6 years is 6 years, bracket complete, minus 1. So it gives me the CAGR of 3.82%. So we can say that this organization is growing annually at the rate of 3.82%. Now this valuation figure or value, why you will use or where you will use? When you want to invest in a particular organization and compare it with the returns given by other securities or other financial instruments, you can compare these percentages returns that you are going to get from this security with other securities or other investment avenues and take the decision. So this is how you can create the financial model. Now stay tuned for company financial models which will be coming up in few days, and anyone who wants these Excel files, please put your mail ID into the comment section and I will be forwarding you this Excel file which has all the notes and all the valuations given. Thank you very much for your patience and listening the videos very carefully. I hope you have understood how to create the basic financial models. Thank you guys.